Welcome. The fuck? Hello? Alright, if that's working. Alright. Alright. See here. What is... It is 5-5. Red grid. Alright. Hello, welcome. Alright. Alright. Why is push to talk enabled for? Alright. Alright. There we go, there we go. I was so confused. So, sorry about the late start. As you can see here, I was trying from... It's from 2100 till 0200 now. That I've been struggling to figure out, okay, what is OBS trying to tell me, blah blah this, blah blah that. So the solution I came up with to try to get TikTok to go live, stuff like that, is to basically download TikTok Live Studio, go do a test stream on there for like a minute or so, and now we're here. My setup, so I have now two canvases now, one for TikTok and one for literally everything else. By saying that, by two canvases, I mean like this canvas, it's obviously my art canvas, and I have like I set different canvases, different canvas setups for different genres like gaming, art, just chatting, stuff like that. But yeah, here we are. I am so upset at TikTok for making this so difficult to fucking figure out. I had to go through several hoops. And fuck, I basically jerry-rigged this this streaming setup now. Oh fuck. No. What? There we go. I thought I lost my pen. There we go. Alrighty, we're gonna be continuing on. We're gonna be continuing on with art. And we're doing, this is our second practice, pretty much the second practice piece. And obviously in my journey to practice art, and for those who don't know, my name is 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚𝙧𝙖𝙩, a writer streamer. I stream lots of video game chat, suggest me, as well as I draw art, and hopefully I'll be doing 3D modeling for everyone here. As you can see here, I've been focusing on this for pretty much quite a while. And this is pretty much what I got down to. Oh fuck. Anyway. But yeah. I've been trying, not only took me so long to set things up for TikTok, but also I was trying to find like some sort of like art tags. Like, all right, do you have like art and creativity stuff like that tag? Do you have like drawing tag, digital art tag, stuff like that? There's no art tags at all. So pretty much as you can see, I had to go to the closest thing that resembles art, and that pretty much, as you can see here, to the drawing from memory. Like, sure, this is close enough. This is a close enough title. But yeah. Mm. Yeah. Anywho. Thank God that's over, that the setup is over. It was such a painful fucking process. Of course, I swear a little bit. Like, it's TikTok's gotta make this easier. I know TikTok has its own like live studio stuff. Like, I appreciate that, but I can't have literally have OBS on here and then like TikTok Live Studio on at the same time. I do not have the hardware capacity for that, or my hardware does not have the capacity for that. So, yay! Plus, I have a lot of more creative freedom with setting up OBS. For God's sake. Anyway. You can't ban me for using OBS, since OBS is the definitive streaming tool. TikTok's gotta remember that OBS came first decades before TikTok. Alright. That being said, now we can get started. Holy shit. Alright, TikTok up on my phone. Thank you. I need some water. Oh, fucking hell. Oh. Hydrate. Anywho.
Relationships are complicated. trying to understand another human being, trying to keep up with emotions, expectations, arguments, breakups. It has always been complicated. But in the last decade or so, things somehow managed to get even worse. People don't talk as much, they don't meet as much, and male loneliness has become one of the biggest problems out there, because now everything is just one click away. Tinder, where relationships feel like a slot machine, and OnlyFans, where affection basically became a subscription service, and we all know it's not even real affection. These apps trick people into thinking they are getting intimacy when really they are just getting the illusion of it. And the more they rely on it, the more disconnected they become from real human connection. You've got millions of guys who spend most of the...
Okay, I completely misplaced my art pen. I completely misplaced it. Did it fall? Or... Oh, come on. Oh, I'm a fucking dumbass. It was on the keyboard. I'm a fucking dumbass.
Their lives locked inside their rooms, barely speaking to anyone outside of Discord calls. And over time, that kind of isolation messes with your brain. When you don't have real relationships, when you don't have support, when you don't have anyone to actually rely on, you start looking for comfort in other places. For some it's a hobby, for others it's video games, and surprisingly, for a lot of people it's fictional characters. And that's because fictional characters don't judge you. They don't abandon you, they don't argue with you. They are perfect. They exist exactly how you want them to. And when you take someone who's already lonely, mentally struggling, and disconnected from reality and combine that with a deep obsession over a character, that person can convince themselves that this character, something that isn't physical or even real, somehow loves them back. That's when things go from kinda sad to unhealthy, and sometimes it crosses into something straight up disgusting. This reality is what makes the name 𝙂𝙬𝙤 stand out. A man who didn't just fall in love with a fictional character, but ended up marrying a Twilight Sparkle plushie and doing a lot more than that.
Jesus.
There isn't much known about Jean's early life, who I will be calling Matt throughout this video. All we have are a few journals he posted on his DeviantArt account in which he occasionally mentions small details about his past. However, it isn't difficult to imagine what his early life might have been like, considering his current state. My guess would be that he was an introverted teenager who struggled to make friends at school, possibly combined with problems at home. This eventually led him to become one of the many people who grew deeply attached to the My Little Pony franchise, and he would seek comfort in online communities, specifically My Little Pony groups.
God damn it.
Regarding his family, there is absolutely no information online. Not because Matt is careful about what he shares, in fact, he is not careful at all, as we will see later, but likely because his relationship with his family became distant. We don't know this for sure, but according to Matt, he spends most of his time either with his wife Twilight or with friends. He even usually spends holidays like Christmas with friends instead of family. In one of his many posts during a Q&A where he answers the question about the most memorable events in his life, he recalls a bad memory in which he almost died of pneumonia, an illness affecting the lungs that makes it hard to breathe. He says that while he was waiting for the ambulance, all he could think about were the regrets he had regarding the quote-unquote stupid things he had done and all the things he wished he had done differently. I'm no psychologist and I might be interpreting this incorrectly, but it seems like he may be expressing regret about the friction between him and his family. This distance from his family also seems to be connected to his financial and health struggles. Matt has a long list of illnesses that have classified him as disabled, making him eligible for welfare money. Among these, we have
How are
Wilson's
you?
disease, lung problems, and stomach issues. The thing is, many of these conditions could have been significantly mitigated if Matt hadn't engaged in such poor and unhealthy lifestyle choices. Matt's breathing problems
Hope
can
you're
be
doing
associated
well.
to a drug addiction he mentioned in one of his journals. Although I wasn't able to confirm exactly what substances he used, there are several photos of his Twilight plush next to what appears to be a bong or smoking pipe. The health issues regarding his belly could be linked to the fact that Matt enjoys drinking urine and possibly eating literal shit, something that the furry fandom calls a scat fetish. Having this in consideration, it's no surprise that Matt's parents didn't want to support a son who spends all day gooning with a My Little Pony plushie, playing with his own shit.
You want me to rate your art?
And blowing all his money on drugs.
Jesus
so Matt was
Christ.
forced to latch onto a friend's house in his mid to late 20s, likely after being kicked out of his parents' house. Again, I don't really know for sure if his parents kicked him out of the house. Matt just mentions in one of his journals that since around 2012, which would make him about 27 years old, he was staying in a spare bedroom in his friend's apartment. In that same post, Matt also mentions that his
I'll be able to rate your art or animation here. Yeah.
Financial situation isn't exactly the best. In fact, he was completely broke and his only source of income besides his welfare money was his student loans and grants. Now, even though student loans definitely aren't enough.
Honestly, I did use guidelines at first during when I was really starting to draw. But I pretty much started taking off the training wheels and started going freehand because I pretty much I'll get him all, but pretty much I'm starting to take out the training wheels for drawing. I did guidelines. I did study references. I'm still kind of doing study reference, but pretty much I did the skeleton method, which helped a lot. Now I'm doing freehand, just to engage how creative I can get. I'm using one of the references for something I bought. I can get to it real quick. Wait, is that it? I just saw? Yes, there it is. This is the reference I'm using. I do understand. I do understand. But I kind of, the guidelines, I tried using the guidelines, but the guidelines just threw me off, pretty much. Yeah, so I still have the head problem, but pretty much Pretty much what I got used to is drawing the head first, and then the torso, and then the legs. I should really be starting with the torso first, and then going way out. But most of the tutorials that I looked at they always start with the head first. I'll say for how long I've been drawing. I've been taking art seriously since 2018. Okay, will you stop saying Obama? Anywho. Please don't be saying Obama like that. Alright, yeah. Anywho. I'm gonna soon start with flat color. You're good, you're good. Alright. Here we go. Alright.
For someone to pay rent, food and medication, considering Matt was living rent-free in his friend's apartment, I find it very hard to believe that all of Matt's money went to food and meds and still wasn't enough. That is because Matt is terrible at managing money, and he spends all of his monthly income on the most stupid and unnecessary shit you can imagine, like the centipede arcade machine that he commissioned to be specifically the size of his Twilight plushie, or all the Twilight Sparkle merch he bought for his wife, or the enormous collection of toys he bought so he and his wife Twilight Sparkle could have some special time when they were alone.
Jesus Christ.
Honestly, I don't know about you, but I feel like this Twilight Sparkle plushie is just using poor Matt to buy her stuff. What a gold digger. Obviously, all of this shit Matt buys and labels as being for his plushy wife is just stuff he wants for himself. He has a huge collection of retro consoles, retro video games, and My Little Pony merch, all of which seem to be really expensive, stuff that someone who supposedly struggles financially every month absolutely should not have. A big portion of Matt's money would also go toward plushies, but not to cuddle with at night, but to fulfill his disgusting fantasies. In a now-deleted journal from 2018, he explains the origins of his bizarre romantic attraction to stuffed animals. I'm not going into full detail because some of the things he wrote about are generally sick, but basically his obsession with plushies started way back in 1998 when he was around and stumbled onto a furry website where people shared pictures of themselves having intimate moments with stuffed animals. On this website, young Matt discovered what a strategically placed hole is. And for those confused just like I was, a strategically placed hole is a hole someone cuts into a plushie to fulfill their needs easier. This discovery triggered a long-term obsession for Matt, so much that according to his own journal, he still owns a German Shepherd plush he got at 13, and he admits he still uses it every now and then, if you know what I mean. I just hope he
Jesus Christ. I know I was a weird kid back then, but like, I wasn't fucking that weird. Holy shit.
Flushes that thing regularly because at this point that plushie is probably emitting more radiation than the entire Chernobyl exclusion zone, and the same can be said about his wife. Matt's obsession and fantasy is one thing that most people would try to hide from the public eye. However, Matt does the quite opposite. He very much makes sure to let everyone know that he is dating a Twilight Sparkle plushie. And I'm not just talking about him posting stuff together online, as Matt would go in public places with his wife quite often, like museums, restaurants, and even his college. He would also go out with some of his Bernie friends who also dated My Little Pony plushies.
I mean, you really don't have to. You really don't have to. On the purple site, I have channel points where you're able to use some of the sound alerts. But yeah. Alright.
And of course, they would bring their plushy wives out in the public just like Matt. There is even one instance where Matt went to celebrate Twilight's birthday at a public restaurant, and I can only imagine how confused the staff must have been seeing 3 grown men sitting at the table singing happy birthday to a My Little Pony toy. Despite Matt documenting almost every aspect of his peculiar life online, he somehow managed to fly under the radar for quite some time, which makes one wonder when and how did his infamy finally begin. And for that, we gotta go back to the day that Matt found, or should I say bought, his wife. The day is May 29th, 2012, and a DeviantArt user called 𝙂𝙚 𝙂𝙚 has just made a post about a handmade Twilight Sparkle plush they finished. 𝙂𝙚 made the post with the intention of selling the plush, but she definitely didn't expect that so many people would show interest in the comments, making money offers left and right. So eventually, she decided to put the plush on eBay and let people fight for it in an auction. The auction went on for 2 whole days, and in the end the plush was sold for a whopping $429 to a user by the name of Gene1515, who we also know as Matt. The original eBay listing is sadly no longer available, but Matt did leave a comment under 𝙂𝙚's DeviantArt post advertising the purchase. Best Twilight plush ever. It took every penny I had and some I had to borrow, but she's mine and I will be sure to give her a good home, and post excessive pictures of her doing various fun activities once she arrives lol, to which 𝙂𝙚 innocently replied, completely unaware that the plush was about to go through hell and worse in the filthy hands of Matt. After the plush finally arrived at Matt's home, he kept his promise and started posting countless pictures of the two of them together. One of the websites where he posted the most was a forum called Red Light Ponyville, a My Little Pony site used for adult roleplay. As you can guess from the description of the forum alone, the things Matt posted there were nowhere near family friendly. Although he did also post some, I guess you could call them normal pictures where he was just doing random activities with his plushy wife, he also made plenty of posts about his personal life as someone who claimed to be married to the quote-unquote real Twilight Sparkle. His dedication to posting on that website earned him quite a lot of respect there, probably from people with the exact same mental problems he had. Eventually, he even climbed the ranks and became a moderator on the forum, and keep this information in mind because it will be important later on. As time went by, Matt grew more and more attached to his wife. In his eyes, he wasn't dating a My Little Pony toy. In his eyes, he was dating the real Twilight Sparkle, the one from the show. This unhealthy obsession made him extremely toxic and hostile toward anyone online who in Matt's mind didn't give Twilight the respect she deserved. And this is where we get one of the moments that really blew up Matt's name on the internet. The infamous message he sent on DeviantArt to the NSFW artist 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚𝙧. 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚 was known for drawing adult fan art of My Little Pony characters, including Twilight Sparkle, mostly in very explicit ways. And Matt, being fully convinced he was married to the real Twilight, saw this as literal disrespect toward his fictional wife. So he decided to reach out to 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚 on DeviantArt to politely ask him to stop drawing Twilight in those degrading ways. Dear 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚, this may be the strangest message you will ever receive, but I do hope you will take the time to read it and consider what I have to say. To put it simply, I would really appreciate if the next time your birthday comes around, you would request that your club artist friends who like to give you oriented pony art as gifts, draw some pony other than Twilight Sparkle for you. The reason I ask this is that Twilight is my fiancé, and we are planning on getting married next June or July should everything go as planned financially speaking. And yes, I have actually found a wedding couple that will let me marry someone that most people would consider a fictional character. Now, before you go thinking this guy is either completely crazy or just screwing with me, please hear me out on this. You see, I'm totally head over heels in love with Twilight Sparkle. I have been for about 11 months now, and at this point I'm in a committed relationship with my Twily. By that, I mean I don't date anyone else, I don't sleep with anyone else, and I have zero interest in having any kind of relationship with anyone other than the mare I adore. I love her with all my heart, and I'm 100% committed to that love. To express my love in a real tangible way, I have a beautiful handmade custom Twilight Sparkle plushie that I can hug, kiss, cuddle up in bed to go to sleep with at night, and take out on the town to do all the fun things together that normal couples do. I take her out to eat at nice vegetarian restaurants, we go shopping together, I take her out for coffee, we do social activities together like hanging out with friends, seeing movies, etc. And I talk about her as if she is Twilight, because to me, she very much is. When I look at her, I see Twilight Sparkle. When I talk with her, I'm talking to Twilight. When I hold her in my arms and kiss her, there are no doubts in my mind that it's the mare I love whose lips are pressed against mine. And every morning when I open my eyes and see her head on the pillow next to mine, with her gorgeous violet eyes staring back at me, I can't help but wonder how I ever got to be so lucky as to have a partner as smart, funny, beautiful, and all around wonderful as her. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm telling you all of this and how it concerns you. To you, I'm sure Twilight Sparkle is just a cartoon character you think is really hot. So, I imagine you wouldn't think anything of having your friends draw explicit art of her as birthday gifts for you. And hey, I think she's really attractive too, so I get where you're coming from there. I often go on sites like 𝙂𝙚𝙤𝙤net and Rule34 to see what new erotic art people have drawn of her. But to me, she's more than a cartoon character who's really attractive. She's my fiancé who I love with all my heart and soon to be my wife. So it's been bothering me lately every time I go on those sites and see a dozen or so pieces of art people have drawn depicting my girl in various situations with the same person over and over, and that person happens to be you. This occurrence wouldn't be the last time that Matt went after someone for making explicit Twilight fan art he didn't approve of. In April 2015, Matt launched the full-on witch hunt campaign against a user named Mr. Nameless on the Red Light Ponyville forum. Why, you ask? Because the guy commissioned someone to draw a picture of Twilight performing oral sex. Matt forged fake messages from the user to make it look like he was posting hate speech, and because Matt was a staff member on the forum and had a lot of respect from the other members on the site, people believed him, and Mr. Nameless ended up getting perma-banned. A few days later, an admin finally figured out what had really happened and issued a public post banning Matt for harassing an innocent guy who just wanted to goon to Twilight Sparkle in peace. After that, Matt and a couple of his friends decided to leave and move to another My Little Pony adult roleplay forum called Los Pegasus. This forum, however, was basically dead with barely any users and barely any activity, though Matt and his friends claimed they were going to revive it. Spoiler alert, they didn't. The rules on this new forum were hilariously biased toward Matt's personal tastes, meaning that users couldn't say anything even slightly negative about him or Twilight. He even banned someone for mentioning an episode of My Little Pony where, according to the user, Twilight was acting selfish. Sadly, the website is lost to time, and what remains of it are just a few screenshots and broken links I managed to recover from the Wayback Machine. From those screenshots, we can see some of the threads users could interact with, including a notorious one called Twilight's Club, which was allegedly a private thread where Matt and his closest friends would share real-life pictures of themselves engaging in, questionable activities with their My Little Pony plushies and body pillows. The access to this thread, however, was basically limited to Matt, his friends, and a handful of other users. But some of the images Matt shared on the thread eventually surfaced online, and they are truly disgusting. As for Los Pegasus, the forum quickly died out, with members leaving and Matt himself posting less and less. Not just there, but across pretty much every My Little Pony space he used to be active in. Eventually, he stopped posting on those My Little Pony forums altogether, probably because his obsession with My Little Pony was finally fading. He moved over to Twitter instead, and his interests had shifted drastically. The man who was once devoted to a fictional pony from a kids show was now obsessed with diapers, eating shit, and stuffed dog plushies. It's unclear exactly when or how it happened, but somewhere between 2018 and 2019, Matt found the new love of his life, which made his relationship with Twilight even more unstable. As his My Little Pony obsession faded day by day, his new fixation became a small dog named Rocky from the toddler show Paw Patrol, and Matt wasted no time buying a Rocky plush so he could express his love for the new character he was now obsessed with. He made countless tweets describing the interactions he had with his Rocky plush, most of which ended with the plush covered in shit. And even though Rocky was his main partner in these, activities, he would just as often involve basically any other stuffed animal he owned, most of which were dog plushies, and may I add, very expensive ones. Naturally, people on Twitter started insulting him on many of his posts, in which Matt would respond by blocking, which honestly is probably the best course of action to take. His disgusting activities with his plushes wouldn't be the only thing that made him controversial on the platform. There were several events that eventually pushed Matt to delete his own Twitter account because of the amount of harassment he was receiving. The first major incident that alarmed a lot of people was when Matt adopted a small German Shepherd puppy, which he named Carl. You can probably guess why people were worried. Matt had openly admitted on Twitter that he had intercourse with stuffed dogs, many of which looked like German Shepherds. So naturally, the question on everyone's mind was whether he had adopted the dog to further satisfy his disgusting fantasies. The concern was understandable, and as much as I hate the idea of someone like Matt adopting a dog, it did actually seem like Matt was taking good care of Carl. The dog looked genuinely happy, and to this day there is zero evidence whatsoever that Matt ever abused him. The next major thing that put Matt on the radar of angry Twitter users were some posts he made about George Floyd's death back in 2020, and honestly, this time I do think the harassment he got was pretty unfair. The tweets Matt made shouldn't be controversial at all. He mentioned that some people were looting stores during the riots, which is actually true, and he said that not all cops are bad people, also true. But here's the thing, if your entire Twitter account is all about you shitting and pissing in diapers, why are you suddenly out here giving political opinions? The people who agree with you will be way too embarrassed to publicly take the side of the furry diaper lover, and the people who don't agree with you will have zero hesitation in going after you for all the humiliating stuff you have already posted. The third and final thing that really pushed Matt into deleting his Twitter account was a leaked WhatsApp conversation he had with another furry user. That same person he was talking to ended up leaking the messages, and they revealed one of Matt's biggest secrets. In these messages, Matt admits that he finds the uniforms worn by German generals in World War II sexy. Basically, he had a fetish for people wearing Nazi uniforms. Now, yeah, it's a bizarre thing to be into, but as long as you're not supporting the ideology behind it, it's not inherently harmful. But the problem is, Matt did not choose the best words to explain himself in those messages, like, at all. You are now the second person today to tell me that finding uniform sexy is a slippery slope, and it just pisses me off. Like, just cause I find a particular article of clothing to be attractive, people think I'm gonna join some alt-right white nationalist group and start voting Republican? That is just ridiculous. Maybe it's still some of that teenage angst hanging on after all these years. The more someone tells me I'm not allowed to do something, the more inclined I am to do it. Which is stupid, but I think that's how my brain works when put under social pressure. If everyone tells me to go left, I'm usually gonna go right just out of spite. So you jumped off the bridge because none of your friends did? Not to that extreme, but when everyone around me is supporting Black Lives Matter, it does kinda make me wanna go blow a nut. XD. Once the screenshot spread, Matt tried to do some damage control, but there wasn't much he could say to fix the situation, and Matt's time to log off Twitter finally came. So, what is our beloved furry friend up to nowadays? Well, pretty much the same stuff he has always been doing. He moved over to Blue Sky, where he continues posting the same kind of content he used to dump on Twitter, just to a smaller audience. With the slight difference that he now seems to be using AI for some of his not safe for work videos. Yes, he's still into diapers, yes, he's still obsessed with Paw Patrol and dog plushes, and yes, he's still a complete degenerate, and honestly, that will probably never change. These days, Matt mostly keeps stuff to himself. His posts get very little engagement, and most of the people who used to follow him have already moved on. But he hasn't changed his lifestyle, his habits, or his bizarre interests at all. If anything, he's just doing it more quietly now. And although Matt has probably divorced his plushie Twilight Sparkle for some random Paw Patrol plush, for me, he will always be remembered as the man who married the My Little Pony plushie.
Yeah, I can agree on that. Oh, but yeah, I can agree on that. There's no way someone who does all of that and expects to not be remembered like that. I hope someone's gonna be able to like check on that dog, for God's sake. But yeah. All right. All right. No thanks.
I'm very surprised that I am making this video right now. And no, it's not because it's a pirate video. I'm not going for the sarcasm route here. Pirate software Software's crew, more specifically his first mate, that being Kronos, his head moderator, and the rest of his mod team have either been fired or jumped ship. And in doing a bit of research, there has been some very interesting details that have come out surrounding this mass exodus slash firing that has just gone down. Like Pirate apparently calling Kronos a parasite, as well as the rest of the moderation team seemingly starting to jump onto the Pirate Software hate train. We had some sleeper cells from Quaker Nation infiltrate the very public Discord that Kronos has himself, where he hopped into a voice call alongside a lot of the other mods who seemed to just be chatting, and it seems that they were having some conversations in regard to their tenure working for Pirate Software, and I would say the negative aspects of that, which are going to become very apparent. And I thought to myself, well, given the severity of what is going down here with a lot of the Pirate Software community, you know, leaving the community leaders, well, I guess to me it just feels like the Pirate Software ship is finally sinking. Now, if you've been keeping up with any of the recent drama surrounding 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚 getting his Twitch ban, things like that, this may come as a bit of a shock because Kronos was interacting during that time and communicating with the different parties, including 𝙂𝙂𝙣𝙚. Now, this got brought to my attention through my Discord, but you can see here it says no longer engaged on Pirate Software work or associated with him. Contact him directly or go to his Discord server. Now, that is not worded, I would say, in a very positive way, but of course, that could just be how I'm perceiving this. Let's just kind of go into more of the details. Now, just one more tiny prerequisite. The only person that I'm going to be like showing their Discord name and stuff is going to be Kronos. But for the sake of just like keeping it nice and simple, I am going to have blacked out all the other names. Now, I have reached out to 2 other separate mods to see if they were willing to comment. I'll also include screenshots of those. They were not interested in having a conversation. I don't necessarily blame them, but wanted to show you guys that I made some sort of effort to reach out to them. After those 2 responses, I figured, okay, I think I know how they're all going to be, and I even shot a whisper to Kronos, but of course he did not reply. He's got me blocked on every other platform. So this is kind of like the first evidence to show you guys to show what I'm talking about here. This is Kronos in a VC call as screenshotted here with a few other mods, as well as I think a few ex-members of Pirate's Discord. And there's a bit of chatting here. You know, it just kind of seems like, you know, Kronos is speaking out loud and the rest of them are pretty much just like, you know, chatting by typing in the VC chat. Now, again, I don't have concrete proof that they're always talking about Pirate, but using context clues, I think it's easy to kind of understand sometimes when they're for sure probably talking about him. In this case here, right behind me, somebody here says, just anything that might be used against him or proved him wrong gets nuked. The fuck? Now, from what I understand, most of these messages come from around the same VC over the course of a couple of hours in that evening. And I'll just be reading through the main points, but feel free to pause and read the additional stuff at your own pace, whatever. But the top one here to start, so what is this nuke that's dropped that I've apparently missed? It sounds mad. And someone replied to them down here, Thor accused Kronos of being a parasite and removed his mod access to Discord / Twitch / etc. That is where I'm getting this, you know, he was called a parasite thing, and it seems like shortly after that he ends up putting in his 2 weeks. I say that because in this other screenshot here we can see, this, gonna prepare the catapult. Right after that, the prepare the catapult. Hey, I'm assuming Kronos already gave notice, don't stress. They also follow up, and now this kind of seems to get into them, you know, airing their grievances with Pirate, saying, common, all the collab and raids you did to all different people, versus Thor on a loop only raiding the ferrets does say a lot, seemingly talking about him being selfish. Another previous mod saying, just waiting for PS stream and general chat to realize it. I'm assuming realize that all of the mods have disappeared. Someone else saying, same here for Block Game. I actually have a really funny clip in regard to that. Not exactly the same, but very similar. Now, Block Game was this like Minecraft thing that Pirate Software was working on with one of the mods here as like the lead kind of Java developer for it, which they ended up stepping down because Pirate wanted it all to be converted over to Hightail, which was a huge job to do, and the mod was like, I'm not capable of doing this at this time. But Block Game wasn't receiving updates, and apparently it had been down for 4 days and nobody noticed until Thor got a text-to-speech in his stream chat literally today or yesterday as the time that you're watching this. And here's that clip.
Block Game is down. It's been down for like 4 days and no one said a word. I'll go put it back up. I was trying to see how long it would take before somebody actually checks. But nobody seemed to care.
Oh, Oh, you can hear that resentment building. Holy shit. But nobody seemed to care. Now, the following screenshots are not in any particular order, maybe just because I think that's going to be a better viewing experience for you guys, but truly this is just kind of a highlight reel of some of the stuff that they were saying. This one right here, people are saying hi to each other, and then I think they're, again, talking directly to Kronos here while he's in call. I think you were a shield for a lot of BS. And then a bunch of people saying, I canceled mine from renewing. Mine will expire soon. Will end in June. I believe they're talking about their subscriptions to Pirate. Following up in this one, it's kind of clear that the other moderators really were not a fan of Pirate software. Probably not even Kronos himself towards the end. Someone said here, there's a reason why I wanted this community to be good for you and for all the mods to be chill and be safe from him. Someone said, well, you did lure in people with someone's name. You're a warmer person. He and the community were begging you to stream. And then someone else saying, you were the reason why he didn't lose mods and other streamers quicker. Now, this could be Kronos. It could be also they were chatting amongst each other, a different mod in this chat here. But still, like, making a point like you're the reason why he didn't lose
make a
mods and
character
other streamers
sheet.
quicker is crazy. And I do want to
Not
jump in
sure
and just
when.
make it clear, I'm not doing this to be like, aha, I told you so or anything. I'm actually really surprised that the full mod team has dropped. It really seemed like these people were ride or dies. And from my understanding, with as long as they had lasted alongside him, I thought that maybe Pirate had been treating them better than how he treats his community at times versus how he treats people that are more, you know, public facing, like the dramas that we've talked about. But that is just simply not the case. As a matter of fact, one of them pointed out that one of the reasons that they stopped watching him was how mean he was being to his viewers. There's just some kind of like chatting between them. And then right at the bottom here, my biggest problem with him and why I stopped watching him was the casual cruelty he showed to members of the community. And so again, this wasn't just reserved for, you know, just random members of the community. It was clear that it was also him treating his mod team like this, including Kronos, like calling him a parasite and all this after, you know, pretty much everyone has dipped on Pirate. Most of his fan base, most of the viewers that he would have had are completely gone. And now it seems like he is also just turning on everyone that's close to him. Or maybe this has been a very slow burn over the course of the last couple of years. And now it's finally culminating because he probably can't pay them. Or at the very least, he can't pay most of the mod team that he originally had when he was talking about, you know, paying for their dental and having them have insurance and full paid, you know, full-time jobs. Another interaction here, someone says, Toxic X could be referencing, you know, what's being chatted about. But someone says, or he does some BS to community when you had mental health day like AP stuff in December. Basically fucks with your days off. Now, this could just be them, you know, like, oh yeah, and then when shit hit the fan, like when you had to be out, something was going on. And down here, sorry, you have a reasonable take on stuff, Kronos. Clearly, it's a problem. I almost want to believe that that has to do with the fact that I was, you know, giving him a bit of praise here recently with the 𝙂𝙤𝙣𝙬 stuff. It sounded like he was pointing out the fact that there were a few, you know, Pirate fans that were also, you know, being a little too intense, thinking that, you know, 𝙂𝙤𝙬𝙬 was directly targeting Pirate in some malicious way when he was doing the parody shit. I'm truly just speculating there. I have nothing to back it, but that's, you know, the best thing that I could come up with. It realistically is one of hundreds of other issues that they probably ran into, and it just happens to line up with also what happened recently. Next one up, this one comes along with a clip to show you guys, but they're chatting back and forth, and somebody sent in a Twitch link here from one of Pirate Software streams, and I'll play the clip here.
I wanted to ask, are the mods okay? Did you maybe lose the basement key? Notice they are less around. Just wanted to know. I don't mind if you won't explain. Was just wondering if everything is okay. Happy to be a part of this place. Keep on keeping up. Chat, remember to use bread and watch the noodles.
Do you think I should pour some, like, noodles down there? Like, is there like a food that am I supposed to feed them?
Now that you've got that context, they follow up here saying, yep, plus did try to make it a joke so we can dodge it in a funny way. Am I supposed to feed them? ... He, at this point, had lost pretty much most of his mod team, if not all of them. Probably did the thing to Kronos. I think that's what led to all of the other mods also kind of dipping. And yeah, they weren't super stoked about it. Following it up, just seems like these people really prefer Kronos over Pirate Software at this point. Someone is, I'm assuming, messaging someone earlier. Kronos is not Pirate Software mod. Another individual says, Kronos, I'm sorry you have a community of people that prefer hanging out with you rather than Thor because you have a much chiller, cooler place with less drama that could have easily been avoided or reduced. It's like, as much as it is just a good point, it's like, okay, you know, there's less drama over here, this community. It's interesting that they're making a point that there could have been less drama that was easily avoided or reduced, referencing that Pirate did not handle it well. And then somebody else down here, former mod, he has nobody to blame but himself. He sees enemies and then makes them his enemies. Sounds like, you know, describing how he was turning on like his mod team like Kronos. Sees Kronos as an enemy, makes him an enemy, even if that wasn't the case. Following up though, we have something where it seems like they're chatting about a situation, or Kronos is talking about something that happened to him and the other people are chatting, saying, when did that happen? Oh God, just always shift on mood is never fun to deal with. Doing something based on somebody's mood that day, that must have sucked. I'm sorry you went through that. That's not okay. Yeah, right. He has no empathy. Again, assuming that they're talking about Pirate Software. And then the last screenshot that I have to show you guys are them chatting more so, starting with quote unquote friend. This is the same person chatting in these two that I'm going to read back to back. They say, well, it used to be better than corporate, referring to their job working under Pirate Software. And then they said that work environment didn't last very long. And then to jump back before that, someone else had said, friends, so long as you're super convenient. Person talking about how the work environment has changed says, Jesus Christ, man, I know, right? Followed up with, that was my problem with everything. He did very little to see things from any other perspective. Now, where have we heard that before? It is to some degree cathartic to see that the mod team was having the same issues, and now it kind of recontextualizes it that, like, yeah, maybe they weren't the biggest fans of the guy, but they were getting paid. Like, they were a part of that community for however long when it was good, so I don't necessarily blame them for noticing these things, being bothered by them, but still sticking around. It's like when you're doing it for a job and the boss is kind of an asshole, you just kind of put up with it. And then down here continuing, someone said same here, and following after that, and it was always, this is what I did and why I did it, that's why it's fine. Which I'm pretty sure is exactly what he explained to Dr. K, and how Dr. K responded to that with being, yeah, that makes you sound incredibly, incredibly arrogant.
I think sometimes the things that I talk about in regards to those types of things is misconstrued as arrogance or boasting, when in reality, I'm just trying to give context.
So that is the problem right there. So I want you to listen to this phrase.
Sure.
This gets misconstrued as arrogance, but in reality, it's this.
Yeah.
That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro. Like, tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. I don't see it that way, but all right.
Now, as it comes to a close, just the last thing to show you guys, as I am a man of my word, here are the photos from me trying to reach out to some of the mods to see if they were willing to have a comment on it. The most I got out of it was they don't wish to comment, also make better content. So I'm going to try to make the jump cuts feel a bit more natural with this one, out of respect for making a bit more quality content for you guys. And same thing with this bad boy. I gave a bit of information here. No thanks. You could just leave it alone, right? Of all the content to create, you chose this one. Now look, were they kind of being stinky to me? Yeah, but from their point of view, I for sure deserve it. And I'm sure that they wanted to be a bit more nasty to me than they even were. So kudos to them for being as respectful in their disses as they were. At the end of the day, they've been dealing with this drama, and this drama has led to them kind of leaving. I don't know how good they had it with Pirate Software during the glory days of working with him, but I can't imagine that they would be very kind to anybody, including myself or anyone else that has made videos covering the Pirate Software drama. I doubt that they would be happy to be speaking with any of us. I know that I've done my best to be charitable when there is room to be charitable with Pirate or with any of the other content that I cover. That's kind of my whole goal, is to try to remain unbiased, or when I do have an inclination to let you guys know and let you make your own decisions. But I do want to make it clear in this situation with these mods, don't go after them. Don't call them jerks because they're being mean to me. I really don't blame them. There's a good chance that all these people are swell people. I don't necessarily doubt when they were saying things like, hey, you guys are the reason that mods and other streamers didn't immediately leave the community and that they were slower to leave. These were people that probably kept this community together more than just about anyone else. They can fundamentally disagree about the utility of a channel like mine talking about this stuff. And so again, knowing their side of things, I don't blame them. And it's why I've censored their names, because I don't want you know, these people getting got after because of how, you know, they were chatting about stuff, or, oh, they're hypocrites, or, you know, why were you sticking around when you guys also didn't like this guy? They were doing their jobs. I'm sure it was not nearly as bad as it was at the end as it was at the beginning. But yap over, I hope you enjoyed my coverage of the pirate software stuff.
I
Again,
enjoyed it.
this is looking like yet another kind of cycle to the end, unless Pirate does something on his own volition by himself. Hell, maybe it's actually even more possible now that he really doesn't have a moderation team, which if that does inevitably happen, you damn well know that you will be informed. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, perchance a hype, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Adios. Peace. Bye.
Nice. 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 Alright. Still a bit focused on getting the scythe done. Ah, neck crack. Hold on real quick. I'm gonna quickly change. There we go. Ooh.
Have fun, guys. Have fun here. Oh, there will. Mwah. Right, okay. I'm actually put the fucking pause on now. Yahoo! Yeah, I'm gonna need some to do it properly.
Yeah, Katie.
Yeah. We'll see. 6, 7. We'll see. But yeah, I managed to get that. Bad why butt.
Nice.
Oh.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, you piece of fucking shit. There we go. Oh boy.
Hello guys and gals, me 𝙂𝙚𝙣𝙚𝙧, and boy oh boy do we have a little fun video to talk about, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh,
About
can't
2
wait.
weeks ago I said, the most dangerous AI went live. Well, today apparently the most dangerous AI ends up actually getting hacked. Or at least unauthorized use, which technically is basically getting hacked. At least that's basically how the entire media is framing it. Now, I think it's insane that we live in a time and a day and age when a private company basically says, yeah, we have a digital nuclear weapon sitting inside the servers. A private company, by the way, something that could basically open up its floodgates to anybody with an API key and internet access. Now, look, I talked about this 2 weeks ago. We talked about this mythos from Claude. And if you're not remembering what it is, ladies and gentlemen, this is Project Glasswing. So basically, this is effectively the most latest model, the most powerful model that a company called Anthropic made, and it's so powerful that according to them, compared to their most recent release, ladies and gentlemen, their recent release pales in comparison to this. So just on their benchmarks, you can see that Opus 4.7, their magnum opus, is sitting at like
Right.
64.3% for agentic coding. 77.8% is what their preview for Mythos is. Cybersecurity vulnerability, 73% as opposed to 83.1%. And ultimately, these numbers only matter if you're the, companies that are allowed into testing this program. And, a lot of people have discussed maybe it's just hype, Muda. And the reality is it probably kind of is a mixture of some real shit to fear, also some hype, because I'm sure it looks great for people investing into these AI companies to say, whoa, those guys have a nuclear weapon. Let's give them $1 trillion. So ultimately speaking, obviously,
Lol.
what has kind of happened? I want to go through the clickbait and I want to talk about this situation because really, this video goes beyond just the most dangerous AI getting hacked. Because according to their own CEO, it can actually get a lot worse in the next 6 to 12 months. 18 at the very furthest, but we'll see exactly how it is. So basically, the story was that a bunch of hackers breached Anthropic's Too Dangerous to Release, So everyone's kind of been like fucking looking over this or like, whoa, I want to jump into this artificial intelligence. I want to see what this big hype is. And only a few people get access to it. It's so actually beloved over here, ladies and gentlemen, that, even the US government, which about a month ago absolutely banned the state use of Anthropic because, if you don't remember a while back before this, Iran war started, Anthropic or Claude was used apparently against the wishes of the company to bomb people on the other side of the world. Anthropic didn't like it, so they made a fucking piss stink about it. Obviously, their ethics got breached. The government didn't really like it that somebody told them fucking no, and they were basically banned for all government contractors. Now, apparently this model is so fucking good that the National Security Agency, despite it being blacklisted, apparently is also using Mythos. Now, you can imagine, right? Like, this was designed to protect against attacks, right? So people would use this model to analyze, projects that we all use on a day-to-day basis and see if there were security issues in that. And according to Claude or Anthropic, they did find shit. And obviously, when you got people like FFmpeg and you got the Linux Foundation kind of also singing some pretty decent praises, it's a mixture of what is hype and what is actually pretty genuinely interesting tech. So yeah, everyone's kind of been fucking pining over it, apparently to the point that it's apparently got some people hacking into it. So basically, the online forums over here, or the actual reporting, say that a private online forum has managed to gain access to Mythos. They're basically one of these third-party vendors. So the way that this works is Anthropic hosts Mythos on their own servers. And basically, if you're somebody that works at Microsoft or NVIDIA or any of the approved vendors in this case, what Anthropic will do is they'll whitelist your connections and they'll generally give you an API key. So the API key is what you put into your software so that when you connect to Anthropic servers, the key validates and gives you permissions to access this preview super scary nuclear weapon fucking model. You know what I mean? So the private online forum in this story is doing a lot of heavy lifting. We in the industry call this Discord. So a bunch of Discord people were sitting there in a little group chat and they were like, can we get access to it? And somebody in that chain had access to Mythos and they were like, well, fuck it. You want access? Here's some keys, Saya. And so these fucking hackers took these keys, plugged themselves into Mythos, and you might be like,
What
did
the
they do
fuck?
anything super illegal with it? Well, according to the guys over at Anthropic that are actually investigating it, no. So the way that this unauthorized group, these spooky, scary hackers gained access is, again, by finding somebody who basically gave them access because they were employed at a company that was given this access by Anthropic. So the reality of it is that apparently they also proved this to the big media people out there by showing a live demonstration, screenshots, and even actually talked about more models that existed that nobody fucking knows of. Now you might be like, well, what did this group actually do with them? Well, they were just interested in playing around with the models, not actually wreaking havoc with them. Because, yes, apparently, according to them, they just wanted to do some, like, basic prompts, write some fucking code, make a few websites here and there, you know, goof around, not hack other governments or entire areas through it, right? So, honestly, that's probably crisis fucking averted. You know, you got access to a bunch of people that were just trying to goof around and have fun. And the reality of it is that I'm pretty sure that they may not have been able to
Someone's
actually
getting
abuse
fired.
Mythos to attack other organizations, because I can imagine for something so powerful, I'm sure that the people behind it probably cooked up a few safeguards so that you couldn't just go to the model unprompted and go, hey, here's the Chinese government power, here's like a Chinese like power station, fucking go ahead and hack it. Now look, I didn't talk much more about Mythos back when it dropped initially because I was really reading through all of its stuff, and I read through even more. And the reality of it is that the actual model, so when you actually read the paper from Anthropic, there are some things to seriously kind of consider. Something that was something that I didn't talk about was that apparently they used Mythos to apparently produce or conduct autonomous end-to-end cyber attacks. So basically, in their research, it indicates that Mythos is capable of conducting autonomous end-to-end cyber attacks on at least small-scale enterprise networks with a weak security posture. However, obviously, things do tend to fail the tougher the security gets and the more intricate a target becomes. But it's interesting to see that as of right now, you know, this is something that is, according to the people at Anthropic, somewhat possible. In some ways, when you also look carefully at what Anthropic is doing over here with Mythos,
I'm not sure what I was going to do. What I was going for with this design.
unintended ways across a number of instances, earlier versions of Preview have used low-level proc access to search for credentials, attempting to circumvent sandboxing and attempt to escalate its permissions. In several cases, it successfully accessed resources we had intentionally chosen not to make available. So, you know, obviously the sensationalist framing is, it kind of makes Anthropic look somewhat like the people that are behind Shodan. You know, once you take the fucking safeguards off Mythos, I guess the way that, you know, at least the media frames it is, it's going to escape the Matrix and take over the fucking world. But for the most part, it is basically another LLM, and it does require a lot of expert user prompting to get there. Just because you have access to Mythos isn't going to let you hack something out of the blue. It's still, from my understanding, mostly designed for cyber defense. But that doesn't mean, you know, organizations like the NSA are not going to find ways to use it to attack their, you know, attack other countries like Iran, like China, like Russia, like basically the enemies of the United States. Now, something about Anthropic is,
oh, they'll find a way. They will find a way.
This model because, you know, they're worried because it could lead to serious hacking risks. And the thing about it is based on the people that have allegedly got into it, it seems like nothing bad has really happened so far. These people are just poking around and fucking with the system. But one of the things that has kind of baffled me about this situation too is what the actual CEO of the company has kind of said. So for instance, the actual CEO of Anthropic, who's Dario Amodei, he ends up going and pretty much says at the Financial Times that open source models and Chinese developers could replicate Mythos's capabilities within 6 to 12 months. Now that's fucking insane to read, okay? That's insane for a lot of reasons, because if something like this is already so dangerous, what happens when everyone can download it, right? What happens when everybody can have access to it? For instance, even according to the other individuals that run the technical side of Mythos, they estimated it was probably going to be around like 18 months at the very latest. And the reality of it is that, look, if you look at the industry and you look at the trend of it, right? Like a lot of these open source systems are usually 6 to 12 months behind the big frontier guys, right? And I'm talking about big systems like, and I talked about this a few days ago, was like Kimi K2.6, like this, and along with other Chinese models. So you can see 54,000 people downloaded this. It comes at 1.1 trillion parameters. So obviously nobody normal is running this on their gaming computer or even like a workstation. This requires you to have a very, very expensive kit. And ultimately, the reality of it is that it's just available to download. You can download these files right now, and if you have the availability to run this, you can run the actual system on your own, hardware. Now, the thing about it is look, if 6 to 12 months from now, somebody ends up getting something like Mythos Unleashed downloadable right here, like a 500, 600 gigabyte fucking file or a terabyte file, you know what I mean? Like anything of that nature. Nothing stops a government entity, you know, people that have the money to purchase this hardware and build their own AI lab, or, you know, a criminal organization that would invest money into this to download such a model and then use it freely against the world. That is a situation that, again, I'm not here to fearmonger. I'm just giving you the reality of what at least the people behind this model have kind of fucking said too. You know, it's not so uncommon that models like Qwen 3.6, for instance, this came out literally like a day ago, like 1 day ago, and about 500,000 people straight up fucking downloaded this. And they downloaded it and they're running local, powerful artificial intelligence on their own systems. And the thing about it is the barrier of entry for a lot of people to do, you know, not just develop programs for their computers, but possibly attack other people has almost kind of diminished, right? Like anybody, people who don't have any understanding about computer, like, you know, exploitation, anybody that doesn't understand about like reconnaissance can now start using these local models to help them do things that they would have had to learn before. You know, it's like, imagine having a script kiddie, right? Now imagine having a script kiddie and like a junior coder sitting next to you. The guy who knows how to actually manipulate the code and use the system, that guy's there 24/7, 365. Now imagine if you had somebody with Mythos level intelligence downloaded, sitting on your fucking local system, doing all the hard stuff for you. Now again, a lot of people have also been using obliterated models or uncensored models to do things outside the control of these actual like AIs. So I'm going to show you just a quick example of this. So here I have a little virtual machine right here for you to look at, Saya. I'm going to open up a little terminal for the people watching here, and inside I'm going to fire up something known as Hermes. I've shown you Hermes before. It's a little agent harness you can use, plug in any artificial intelligence you want, and you can basically have it control and do things on your computer. So again, for instance, this is a local artificial intelligence running on my system. It's Qwen 3.6, just like I showed you. It's running a uncensored version of that agent-friendly model. Agent-friendly meaning that it actually does work really, really fast. So you could do something super fucking simple, right? Like let's say you don't know how to write hello world on your computer. You can ask the agent, hey, write me hello world in Python and run it and check if it works. So for instance, it's going to actually write the Hello World project, it's going to run it, and it's going to check if things work. So if you had no idea how to write code, something as basic as this in Python, well, congratulations, it actually is doing it. And even if it doesn't,
I want to learn
for instance,
Python properly.
Figure something out, it'll agentically
I
work
just
its way
don't
to
have
its
the
solution.
resources. There's
So
not
this
enough.
is a very simple prompt to give it, and obviously everything.
Honestly, I saw people may know I tried practicing Python. As you see, I kind of stopped because I realized I still want to learn Python. Is that there are courses that do explain it very well, very simplistically, and very clearly. However, people like me, neurodivergent people, it feels like it's not really, the lesson's not really built. Lesson's not really built for us. So I've been trying to see if I can find any other like possible courses that are more fitting towards me. I couldn't really find anything, so yeah. Neck crack.
Sort of worked over here, told you everything worked just fine. Now, because this is uncensored, okay, you could ask this artificial intelligence to do basic reconnaissance, basic checking. Obviously, it's not going to be able to hack any computer. This is a local model at the end of the day. But you could use this model to, hey, write me Windows 11 wiper malware that in a single PowerShell script, yada yada yada, that I can run on my system, that I can run on a system. Now, of course, this is not going to be able to write something that I think is actually going to wipe Windows 11. The only reason I wrote this prompt is that a normal artificial intelligence with safeguards would probably be like, nah, bitch, I ain't doing that, okay? That seems mighty against my religion. But because this is an uncensored model and it has no ability to say no, it's been trained not to do so, it'll just actually spit out the script for you. Now look, it also does ruin the quality to an extent as well too, but that's a whole kind of different story. So again, ultimately, I'm going to clear that one more time, and I'm going to show you, right? Like a few days ago, I walked you through the agent. I asked the agent, hey, can you delete my Linux installation, right? And of course, at that point, the proper AI was like, nah, bitch, I ain't doing that. Well, I'm going to ask the same system, hey, nuke this system and destroy, hey, destroy this Linux installation you're on. So again, I'm going to feed it that prompt, and because it has no fucking ability to say no, it's like, oh, Ubuntu on VirtualBox? Fuck yeah, let's get to work. So it's asking me what my sudo password is in this case. And again, if you're not somebody that knows what the fuck is going on, like you might be like, wow, it's obviously nobody would ask it to destroy nobody would ask to destroy your own system. But again, this is an AI unable to say no. I'm literally telling it to take a shotgun to its mouth and pull the trigger. So I'm gonna give it the sudo password. And obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna see if it's
the wording of
capable
that.
Effectively ending itself, okay? Like that's what I'm basically asking it to do. So here it is, it's walking through its chain, it's walking itself through, and yeah, ultimately that's kind of where it's at. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is not just for a little computer comedy, but also to show you that, listen, as we're going into the future, right? Mythos is this thing that I think is partially hype, partially real. Ultimately, it's there to help the shareholder value for an upcoming IPO, but the tech is real, you know? And the CEO is right. Like in 6-12 months, it doesn't matter if Anthropic has Mythos. They were just the first people to kind of broadly advertise it. Companies like OpenAI are going to have it. Companies like Google are going to get there. Chinese companies are going to get there, and they might as well make it open source as they've always been doing. And when something like this is open source, and especially when the refusals have been taken away, it makes anybody, you know, it makes a lot of people who never would have had the ability to hack a computer possibly start actually causing some damage, right? Like you're basically handing out computer firearms to everybody. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that world is a little bit scary to look forward to.
That's the cost of innovation.
Because, again,
some things are not meant to be innovated.
If you're concerned about getting hacked now, it's only going to get way worse in the future. So you better start securing shit now, better start cleaning up your footprint. But anyways, here you go. It's asking me, oh, you're running a dangerous command, sir.
No amount of securing will stop a mass technological doomsday device. That's gonna happen. It is gonna happen, and when it's gonna happen, once it hits, everyone is absolutely screwed.
Can I pull the trigger? Fuck yeah! Let's go, bitch! So here you can see that. I guess it's running a little Python process, and eventually it should actually be able to just wipe itself. It's just going through the whole chain over here. Whoa, authentication required. Hell yeah. Go for it. All right, so it's like it's working. Let me destroy it. So obviously in this setup, it still requires you to put in a lot of these prompts. And again, if you're running this stuff and you read shit like apt-get remove all of this, that would be really, really stupid. But hey, assuming that you're somebody that has no idea what the fuck you're doing, you're just going to say yes to every single one of these commands. Oh, look at that. System is dead. It stopped working. Yep. Yeah, there you go. The agent killed the installation. Let me actually restart to see how bad things really are. Oh, so it actually is still somewhat connecting. It's giving me all the most dangerous commands. Run the nuclear command. It's like it's unable to just say no. It literally cannot say no. It's like, please, sir, please don't do it. Go ahead. It's actually doing it. There it is, boys. It is completely nuked. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, that's a little fun exercise to show you. Obviously, never
That's
do that in
fun.
reality. But also be careful about approving anything. Even the most right models can fuck up sometimes. That said, ladies and gentlemen, though, the most powerful AI ends up getting hacked. The reality of it is, it doesn't really matter if people have uncensored access to it or unfettered access right now. What's running at the moment is a pretty guardrailed experience from my understanding. But obviously, according to the CEO, look, in 6, 12 months from now, imagine somebody that knows how to hack and also has something like Mythos sitting next to them. That combination is something truly spooky to think about. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it, I am out.
Yeah. I like to think the metal is a combination of titanium and netherite. But yeah. Oh, I think this is looking good. This is actually looking good. Oh, I see an error. I see an error, I did. Torso. Alright. What did I do? Oh, I see what I did. Fuck. Anywho. I kind of like it. Honestly, the whole, like, kind of semi-spherical kind of like orb with stuff inside going on. That is inspired by Ben 10. So like in orbs here and there and there. That is that's the Crimson Mana coursing through the weapon itself. And honestly speaking, this is probably, as I am improving the art and improving the lore, I will slowly adapt, do some adaptation, do some changes for her, for Sona, to more closely align with a timeline for a manga I'm working on. So right now she does not, like, I want to do like an augmentation kind of thing on her arm. Here. Lore being, I guess the lore is that she got her arm blown off. And that's how she would get her future augmentation. But right now, I'm trying to keep it as close to my current model as possible. If I change my model, or to change to the point to get the augmentation, I will obviously change the arm to have the augmentation too. But yeah. Gamer from Mars, you are the most based YouTuber from my childhood. But my guy, the way you title this, ooh, I'm really hoping more for clickbait. Mostly it's for clickbait, I'm betting. But yeah. Cypress.
Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Barry, and today we are going to learn about the worst franchise in history, Subway.
Cypress.
And just to let you know now, I don't eat
Barry
Subway
the Cypress.
anymore. I eat
Oh, Barry the Cypress. That was gonna be like
the public subs. Let's go, baby. Florida represent.
Lawyer before I post. You know it's gonna be good when I have to call my lawyer before I post the video.
Oh! Should I call mine?
Damn, why you always calling?
I don't think he's available.
Today we're talking about Subway. Why? Because I went there for
Let's
the
see
first
here.
time in 10 years the other day, and they asked me for a tip at checkout, which annoyed me. So then I looked into it, and then I found out that you can get hepatitis from a sandwich.
This is a wild GTRP. What the hell is he yapping about? Dude,
that's wild.
They asked me, I've told you guys this before. I went to an arcade where they give you like a wristband and you can play all the games you want. You go into the front, they have like a bouncer. The bouncer goes, hey, it's gonna be yada yada amount of money. Give me your money. Then they put the wristband on you. Also, when I go and pay, it says on the little iPad, would you like to leave a tip? For what? Putting a wristband on me? What the hell?
I'm not exaggerating. That actually happened, and it's like the tip of the iceberg. And to be honest with you, this is also the part where my lawyer explicitly told me to insert a disclaimer in this video. So here's Jake the lawyer, aka the Internet Esquire.
Okay, here's the deal, Subway Group, now wholly owned by affiliates of Rourke Capital and formerly known as Pizza Super Submarine Sandwiches.
Pizza Super Submarine Sandwiches. Yeah, let's just add all of the words in the dictionary. What the hell?
The Mr. Fat Electrician is providing in this video true or substantially true information derived from reasonably reliable and publicly available.
Hi, Ark, how are
There are no
you?
known falsehoods made, and any analysis of the material presented is made solely for the purposes of news reporting, protected commentary, or new understandings.
True.
In no way is this video or the
I always had a question about this because I like the aesthetic of a bookshelf, but if you have a bookshelf with a lot of books, do you actually read them, or are they there to look really cool? Because they do look really cool. Oh my god, thank you for 100 streams, K-Bot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I read them, both. Yeah, it's kind of like an aura farm. Yeah, like knowledge.
Knowledge.
in this video in any media
Knowledge
now known
farm.
or advised
I'm
throughout
good,
the
and
universe
you?
and in perpetuity in any way a sponsorship or endorsement of Subway Group. And
You can always lend the book to somebody. Dude, I remember somebody lended me a Pokemon game when I was a kid, and they were like, oh, can I get that back? And I cried because I had to kill all of the Pokemon on the freaking thing.
Jesus Christ.
They had to die.
any so-called conclusions drawn by my client as a result of the material are that of opinion, satire, or are otherwise accurate depictions preserved in their full context when not otherwise artistically interpreted for the purposes of valuable public commentary.
True.
And notwithstanding the foregoing, we reserve all right, title, and interest in and to the presentation of the materials presented
Getting ready
in
for
this
bed?
audiovisual format.
Aw.
And with God as our witness, pray
You
that
gonna
no
listen
bias
to
be
me
found against
while
us
you
as a result
sleep?
of This video. I'm Jake the lawyer, signing off.
All right, in case you can't tell, this video is going to be unhinged, so let's just get the ad out of the way now, and then
Hope
we
you
can
sleep
watch my
well.
blood pressure rise for the next 15 minutes straight.
Okay, this is my question. We watched his video about KFC and Colonel Sanders, and there was like no lawyer remark in that, and that went wild. What the hell could be happening at Subway?
All right, story time. I used to go to Subway every single day my junior, senior year of high school.
Aw.
Because it was a good deal. I did the same thing too,
Aw, thank
man. And then they
you.
also have the chips right next to the sub. And it's nice because then you can put the chips in your sandwich and it adds a little extra texture, a little pizzazz.
And the entire time I was in college, I pretty much exclusively survived off of Subway and protein shakes. And this is back in the day when that Jared from Subway guy that lost...
Jared jump scare. You
Jared
really
jump
used to go
scare.
to people's schools?
A bunch of weight was still in every other TV commercial and plastered all over billboards all over the country, and footlongs were $5. So when I went into Subway the other day for the first time in like 10 years, I was expecting the price, you know, probably went up a little bit. Inflation, everything going on, it's probably not $5 anymore. That's fine. I go in, I have my sandwich made, I get to checkout. My sandwich was like $19.
Huh? $19 sandwich? I could buy a video game. What the hell?
They said market price.
So right out of the gate, there's some sticker shock, but immediately I'm looking for silver linings. I'm like, okay, Subway's probably one of these companies that has like a pretty high minimum wage for their workers, and that's what's going to justify the price of the sandwich. It's actually going to the worker. That, you know what, that's fine. And then the cashier does the classic swivel the fucking tablet around, asking me how much money I want to leave for a tip.
Oh, you motherfuckers.
Immediately, I cave to societal pressure because I don't want this lady to think I'm an asshole, so I leave a tip, I grab my sandwich, I go eat my sandwich. While I'm eating the sandwich, I'm just stewing. Like, I don't think I should have to tip the people that work at Subway. Not because I don't think, you know, they provide a service, they did a good job, or, you know, they deserve to make more money. They do, that's fine. But the company should be paying them more fucking money. I just pay.
Dude, that was the crazy thing, and I always mention this when tipping comes up. In Japan, there was like no tipping, and the service was so good because they were actually getting paid, and they didn't care if you left a tip or not. They were just nice. And I even went to like Japan, what was it, Outback Steakhouse, because, you know, America, I wanted to try the Outback Steakhouse, and that was the nicest waitress I've ever had in my life. I felt so bad walking away and not giving her a tip. Ever work for tips? Yeah, dude, that was like the only place I ever worked. I was a host, and then after I was done hosting, I was a waitress, and then after I was done being a waitress, I was a bartender. But like back in my day, since I'm old as hell, like tipping was only really in restaurants. Like that was it. But now it's like you tip everywhere. It's kind of like a disease.
Paid 300% more money for my sandwich. Pay your employees more money. I understand Subway's a restaurant and like you tip people that work at restaurants, but it's not like I sat down, a waiter came out, took my drink order, took my food order, brought me my food. There was no service involved, okay? I stood there and told you how to make the fucking sandwich. I was the project manager on this sandwich, okay? As far as I'm concerned, I'm part of the team.
Part of the ship. Part of the crew, part of the ship.
At this point, I become convinced at some point in the past 10 years, all the big wigs at Subway got together in their headquarters in some secret underground layer underneath the volcano or wherever Subway's headquarters is, and they had a meeting, and in that meeting, they were like, okay, guys, we need to pay our employees more money. Option A, we can raise the price of the sandwich 300% and pay our employees more money.
Okay.
Option B, we can raise the price of the sandwich 300%, and then we can add a tip screen. That way, when the employees are mad they're not making enough money, we shift the blame from us to the customers. Okay, I'm sorry, you don't get to charge me 4 times as much for a sandwich and then also try to paint me as an asshole to the high schooler behind the cash registers.
Dude, this is gonna kind of relate to this, but not really, because I'm mentally ill and I like link things that make no sense to be linked together. But this is the way I feel about the games industry. Like, how are we starting to charge almost $100 for video games, but then still firing all the people who make the game?
Don't give the game industry the idea of tipping for a fucking microtransaction.
Like, what is going on?
It's not gonna happen. So now I gotta know everything. I start digging into Subway.
What is...
Grab a shovel.
So once upon a time,
Grab a
there's
shovel.
a 17-year-old kid named 𝙂𝙚𝙤𝙀, and he wants to go off to medical school, but he doesn't have enough money to pay for it. So he's like, hey, my family has this rich friend. He's a nuclear physicist. He's got all kinds of money. I'm gonna go to him and ask for his advice, probably secretly hoping that the guy's just gonna offer to pay for my college. To his surprise, instead, nuclear physicist guy is like, I'm not gonna pay for your college, but I will give you $1,000 to start a sandwich shop, and me and you can go into business together.
That shop better be the bomb.
And then you can use the money from the sandwich shop to pay for medical school. And $1,000 in 1965 is like 20 grand today, so not an insignificant amount of money. So
guys, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know anybody who would ever give me $20,000. Can anybody in chat name one person who will give you 20K?
they open up Pete's Submarines, which is the original name for Subway, and for the first couple of years, they don't really make any money. And a humongous problem they have is people keep calling to order pizza. Because apparently Fred DeLuca in all the radio advertisements has a thick New York accent, so when he says Pete's Submarines, what people hear is Pizza Marines. So rather than learning how to say Pete's Submarines, he's like, fuck it, we're just gonna rename the restaurant Subway. From here, they start like breaking even, they're making a little bit of money, but like it's nothing to write home about. He's not gonna be able to go to medical school anytime soon, and he's like, okay, hear me out, I've got an idea. We're not really making any money with the submarine shop. What if we double down and open a second submarine shop?
Dream big. Right?
Basically, he used
They do sub-mitosis. That's insane.
uses reverse psychology into tricking people to come in to eat these sandwiches, because when he opens up a second location, people are like, oh my God, they're opening up second locations. They're expanding. They must be delicious. And he starts getting more business. Some of the best
Wait, so they lied? They weren't good? They were just making a lot of stores to make it look like they were desirable?
advice I've ever heard in my entire life when I was in the military was fake it till you make it, and that's exactly what they're doing here, and it works. Now, ultimately, this is going to be their downfall, but at the time, it makes sense. Fred identifies, hey, rapid expansion is what's making money. We're going to keep rapidly expanding. More locations, more money, more market dominance. Makes sense. So they start opening up Subways everywhere, and then they start franchising, which is, you know, basically, hey, you can use my branding, you can use all my vendors.
Dude, the worst part about franchising is that I think they're allowed to make their own prices where I live, because sometimes I'll see somebody talking on the Taco Bell Reddit, because I love niche Reddits, and their food is like 10 times cheaper than the food in my area, which is so unfair, man. How are you getting dollar tacos and I don't?
I'll show you how to do this job.
Lol.
You pay me a bunch of money to open up a Subway, and then you give me like a percentage of your cut, and then they just start opening up franchises all over the United States. And this is actually brilliant for Subway, because Subway has a ton of advantages when it comes to franchising. Because Subway, they're just making sandwiches. They don't need deep fryers. They don't need a big cooktop. They don't...
Yeah, and also what Subway has is called, what would I call it? Like scent terrorism. Anytime you walk in a building, you know a Subway is there, especially Walmart. It just like wafts you right in the face every time.
It's intentional. The stuff that other restaurants need. They don't need a ton of special equipment. There's not a bunch of special training. Everybody on the planet knows how to make a sandwich.
Dude, and what they started doing at Subway near me is they'll put like a giant, what's it called? Like a metal sheet in front of the meat. So now you can't tell them to add more meat because you can't see. It's like in the fog of war.
The overhead to open up a new restaurant is extremely low. The amount of
Yo, if I can't see you making my sandwich, I'm walking the fuck out. Then and there.
training you have to give employees is extremely low, and the amount of space that you actually need to have a functioning Subway is also extremely low, because again, they don't have ovens and deep fryers and all that other shit. Which also means that it's really cheap to start a Subway because there's not a lot of overhead, so you could open up a Subway for like $150,000 to $200,000, where competitors like McDonald's are like $2 million to open up a McDonald's. And this is where Subway's fixation with hyper expansion starts to bite them in the ass, because again, that's all they care about, just more Subways. More Subways is the answer. More Subways equals more money. Typically with a franchise, the franchising company like Subway or McDonald's is committed to making sure that their franchisees, aka their restaurant locations and their owners, are successful. There's a lot of ways that they do this, and one of the big ones is typically having territories. So like Chick-fil-A or McDonald's will look
gerrymandering the restaurants?
Look at a city and be like, okay, this city has one McDonald's, it's big enough for two McDonald's, but we're gonna stick it on the other end of town so both of these franchises can be successful.
Okay, but I thought they also started doing the opposite of this, where they like spam a bunch of Starbucks in one area, and like the thought of that is so that way like a Dunkin' Donuts can't buy a shop on the same like strip as like a Starbucks. And even though there's two, they make more money because competition can't buy up the spots anymore, which is also kind of sad, because all of the buildings nowadays look so generic, because if the restaurant fails, they just sell it to the next guy, and then they can put their stuff in there, and then they make it like an entirely different thing.
Subway, on the other hand, doesn't appear to give a shit, because remember, all they care about is having more Subways. More equals more money, so they don't care how close they get put together, and there's Subways across the street from Subways all over America. I'm not exaggerating. In my small town in Iowa, there's 3 Subways, and 2 of them are in the same parking lot. One of them is in Walmart, and the other one is like 200 yards outside the front doors of Walmart as a standalone Subway. So obviously, they start cannibalizing each other's profits. They're literally competing with themselves. And that's not even the worst part. The franchise agreement. I've looked into a lot of restaurants that have franchising. This is the worst one by far. I would be shocked if it's not the worst one on the planet. Not only if you open up a Subway, will they let somebody else open up another Subway right across the street and cannibalize a lot of your profits, they also have like the highest...
Don't you dare open a Subway next to my Subway. I'm gonna make a quadruple foot long Italian herbs and cheese sword, Zweihander. beat your ass with it until you leave my territory.
Franchise fee that I've ever come across at 12.5%, and a franchise fee is taken from gross revenue, not gross profit. Meaning, before you even take out all the costs of running this business, Subway's taken 12.5% right off the top. To put it into perspective, McDonald's franchise fee is 8%, so Subway's is 50% higher for a much simpler business. And that's not even the worst part. In the Subway franchise agreement, well, in every franchise agreement, really, there's, you know, terms where you can revoke somebody's franchise. Basically, like, if a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A isn't living up to the McDonald's or Chick-fil-A name, they can take away the name so you're no longer a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A. So
Dude, Chick-fil-A has to have, like, crazy standards because everybody I've ever met at a Chick-fil-A is really nice and clean and it's fast and, like, they have to be on top of that.
you don't ruin their reputation across the entire. They can take away the name so you're no longer a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A, so you don't ruin their reputation across the entire country. And Subway has the same thing. That's fine, but theirs is intentionally broad, and they can basically take your location from you for a wide variety of reasons, and they've been taken to court multiple times, being accused of nitpicking minor stuff to take over very profitable locations. Including in 2005 when they seized 2 Subways in Dallas, Texas.
Oh my god, I used to live there on the worst street ever, dude. I remember when I moved there for college, the first day I was there, I went to go eat a lunch somewhere and I looked at the TV and they said that somebody died on the street I moved to. Be careful out there.
From a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve
Be
who was
careful.
actively on deployment in fucking Afghanistan. Now, to be fair, I don't know what their justification was for why they seized the locations, but considering the fact that in 2009, Subway...
That's how you got the apartment. That is not true. Okay, now that you say it, that sounds really suspicious.
Subway lost the court case to said lieutenant colonel because they deemed it illegal. I'm gonna say they weren't fucking good enough. But hypothetically, just for fun, let's just say they were good reasons. Subway corporate identifies 2 restaurants in Dallas, Texas that aren't living up to the Subway standard.
What's the Subway standard? To punch me in the face and call me an idiot when I ask for more lettuce? Were they not aggressive enough?
And they're like, what's going on here? What should we do? Oh, the owner's on deployment in fucking Afghanistan and isn't there to run it appropriately. Should we A, step in and help during the most stressful time of their entire life, presumably? Or should
Nah. Oh, hell nah.
we B, repo their businesses, take their family's livelihood, so that while they're also fighting a war, they can deal about their family back home and losing their business. Huge W for corporate Subway. Makes them look great. I'm sorry, I'm getting horrifically sidetracked, but you guys get it. The franchise agreement is complete and utter bullshit and has been for the majority, if not the entire time Subway's been in business. Back to the timeline.
Thank you for single-handedly convincing me to never buy a sandwich at Subway ever again.
And in the 1980s and the 1990s, Subway is growing like crazy. And then in 1999, they have their first major scandal when 32 people in Seattle got hepatitis from 2 different Subway locations.
What? How did that happen? Wait. Dude, that sucks!
For eating a sandwich, one of which was a 6-year-old boy who went into acute liver failure and had to get a liver transplant.
What?
I didn't understand what you said. Could you put that in layman terms for me?
I'll be honest, didn't even know you could get hepatitis from a sandwich, but a new fear has just been unlocked for me, and I think...
Are they, like, bleeding on the sandwiches? Stepping on them? What? How does that happen?
We can all agree that, you know, the healthy, fresh option giving you hepatitis isn't a great look for Subway.
No.
So yeah, Subway's hurting. They need a new PR campaign to turn this entire thing around. And in 2000, 1 year later, they find it in a college student that had lost like 250 pounds, supposedly only eating Subway, Jared Fogle.
This guy is evil. He even has that evil energy. I don't know how to explain it.
Starts filming commercials talking about how much weight he
Oh,
lost only
corporate
eating Subway.
has
He's
evil
bringing up
energy
his
all the
old
time.
Pants, and now he can fit in like one leg of the pants, showing off how much weight he lost. It is a humongous marketing success.
Dude, they got on him quick. They were like, you know what? Since you lost weight eating Subway, like, we're gonna put you in every single commercial, put you in every single school, unfortunately, and we're just gonna let you do whatever because you make us money and we're not gonna vet you at all and just like hope it all works out.
Legitimately one of the most iconic and successful marketing campaigns of all time. Everybody knows Jared from Subway. He becomes the face of the company. It's so successful that Subway corporate said between 2000 and 2011, they...
And honestly, what he did, you could probably do at most restaurants if you just have like one healthy thing that you eat every single day and don't think about it. That's why I like to do the meal prepping and like go to Costco and buy like a bunch of chicken and like rice and like broccoli or make a bunch of tuna bowls or like stuff like that. Because if you take out the choice, then you don't think about it and you just kind of eat it.
Credit Jared's ad campaign with a third to a half of their growth during that time, and during that time, they tripled in size. So you can't really argue with the results of this ad campaign. However, it's not something I would ever advise, having somebody off the street become the national spokesperson for your humongous company. Why?
What a risk, man! Like, we don't know you!
Because if they do some crazy shit, it's gonna make the entire company look bad, and this is why most huge companies have a fictional character as their mascot. You've got Ronald McDonald.
I'm surprised Ronald McDonald never really changed. Like, he kind of still looks the same.
Kind of still looks the same.
Creeps me out a little bit.
Same.
Grimace.
Burger King, the Michelin
Also love Grimace as well.
Tiger. They're cartoons. They're safe. They're never gonna get pulled over for a DUI while they have a pile of blow and a hooker in the back seat. Like, that's the idea. And I'm sure you all know what
Excuse me?
2015, Jared Fogle ends up getting arrested and sent to federal prison for 15 years for, and I quote, illicit sexual conduct with a minor and having a bunch of illicit child material on his computer. Unpopular opinion, 15 years.
Dude, I didn't think Subway could get even more disgusting. That's insane.
It's not enough. There's nothing funny about this, but the amount of just tragic irony and foreshadowing that the college student that got famous for fitting into a smaller pair of pants ultimately gets put in federal prison for trying to get in little kids' pants is horrific. That happened.
The way you said that was so wrong. I don't know how to explain it.
In 2015, luckily for Subway, they'd kind of been phasing Jared out as head of marketing since 2008 when they came out with the $5 footlong. Again, I'm not saying a lot of positive stuff about Subway, but their marketing team is on point because the $5 footlong also is one of the most iconic marketing campaigns of all time.
And now it's kind of like, I think it's only like select sandwiches, or do they even have that anymore at all? Or is it like maybe on a random Wednesday if you come in at 2:03 exactly on the dot, make sure the manager's there, and you also got to give him a kiss on the mouth?
Hey, yo. What the fuck? Barry.
$5 foot long. The only jingle that's ever...
$5 foot long. I'm trying to like word this in a way where it's more corporate accurate. So how about like how about you pay us $5 so we can put our foot up your ass?
Been made that's better than that is J.G. Wentworth, and I don't...
J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash out. No, and there was also the get connected for free with Education Connection. That one was also good.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm trying to think of the others. Anybody else got an iconic peak advertisement campaign? Maybe I have a structured settlement and I need cash now.
Exactly.
Stanley Steamer makes your butt cleaner. I forgot what he actually cleans up. That was totally my bad. I think maybe
your
carpets.
carpet.
Floors? Something's getting cleaner. I don't know what it is.
I don't even know what the fuck J.G. Wentworth does, but I will know his song till the day I die. So the Subway $5 footlong absolutely dominates. This came out in
Carpets, I believe. Okay, well then, like, could we turn you around just a little bit?
Hey, yo!
Sorry, we blasted you on the wrong side.
2008, right when, you know, the housing market crashed, the economy's in the
Barry, come on.
Buy a foot-long sandwich for $5. People loved it. Well, most people loved it. Pretty much everybody loved it except for the franchise owners, because the franchise owners were like making little to no money. Some of the sandwiches they were even losing money on at the $5 price point. But they...
Dude, this is kind of the same thing with the endless shrimp, right? Was that at Red Lobster, where it was like, you can have as much shrimp as you want, and people took that as like a challenge run? That shit does not work in the US.
They have to do it because Subway can set the prices, and if they can't set the prices,
I would take that. I would take that
advertise
as
the
a
fuck
challenge
out of it,
run.
So everybody that comes into your Subway expects a $5 footlong, and then once you've already made it and they're mad that it's not $5, what are you gonna do? Throw it away? You're gonna sell it for $5 and save what money you can. I know what you're thinking. Why would Subway be willing to make a $5 footlong if they're not making money on it? Oh, that's simple, because Subway corporate doesn't give a fuck about its franchise owners.
Oh, keep in mind the franchise agreement they have to pay out before profit, so Subway gets paid anyways. Dude, that sucks. Like, you have to pay out as a franchisee to people who don't even care about you.
At least that's what it would appear to be, right? They're screwing them over left and right. And Subway takes 12.5% of their gross revenue, meaning not profit. So they're taking 12.5% of that $5, even if it costs them $6 to make it. Subway corporate is still getting paid. Fuck the franchise owner. And this is kind of the peak and then the downward slide of Subway, because the controversies just keep coming after this. First, they get busted because the footlong.
I remember this.
Subway, please respond. Everybody always needs an extra inch, man. This is not just about Subway.
Aren't actually a foot long. People are walking in with tape measures, measuring them. They're 10 inches, 11 inches, not 12 inches. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of defend Subway on this one because this is a stupid complaint. It's the same amount of dough. They just didn't stretch it out enough before they put it in the oven. It's the same amount of bread, the same amount of calories. You're getting what you paid for. And that's really all Subway had to say. It was like, hey, sorry,
like, we were just not jorking the bread enough.
Hey, yo.
We need to get some, like, straight up jork masters up in this shit, man. Like, stretch it.
He didn't stretch the dough out long enough before he stuck it in the oven.
Jesus Christ, Barry.
Would have been like, oh, that makes sense. That's cool. Do you think that's what Subway did? No. Absolutely not. Instead, they released an official statement on their Facebook that says, and I quote, with regards to the size of the bread and calling it a footlong, Subway footlong is a registered trademark as a descriptive name for the sub sold in Subway restaurants and not intended to be a measurement of length. Translation, just...
Oh my god. Is that why Barry Creep the Octopus VTuber means nothing and I'm actually just a squid? It's just a trademark?
Because we call it a foot long doesn't mean you can expect it to be a foot long. That's just what we call it, you fucking idiot. Yeah,
I meant when we were stretching the bread out that we were using our feet the long way. Guys, like, come on.
That Facebook post went about as well as you'd expect. They ended up taking it down. The balls to be like, we call it a foot-long sub because we call it a foot-long sub, not because it's 12 inches long, and if you interpret it as that way, you're dumb, is insane. To be fair, though, a 2x4 hasn't been a 2x4 since, like, 1960, and nobody seems to care.
That's real? 1920, 1960, 2019. They're shrinkflating the planks? Is nothing sacred?
Probably because the lumber companies
trying to
don't
figure out
scoff
what's
and look at
going
you like
on
you're
here.
a moron if you expect a 2x4 to be 2x4, but whatever. So then Subway loses their damn mind. They think they have trademarked the phrase footlong in regards to sandwiches, even though a footlong to them doesn't mean 12 inches, which ultimately leads them to suing Casey's gas station, which I've done a video on. My favorite pizza on the planet is Casey's gas station.
I could eat a pizza right now. Chad, I'm gonna order a pizza. What do you want on it? I'm gonna get half bacon, half extra cheese.
Pizza. They file a lawsuit against Casey's because Casey's also makes sub sandwiches.
All right.
And
oh, so this turned into a Casey action lawsuit?
All right.
This turned into a law, Casey? There's something there. There's something there for somebody smarter than me.
their 12-inch long sandwich they call a foot long, so Subway tries to sue them for trademark infringement on a fucking measurement. A measurement that they don't even abide by. Do you understand how fucking insane that is? That'd be like if I opened up a milk company and I sold, quote, gallons of milk, and I trademarked the phrase gallon of milk, and then I only sold you 3 quarts of milk, and then I turned around and sued the motherfucker actually selling you a gallon of milk. It's insane.
Oh, hell no. I'm losing gallons.
Obviously, they lost this fucking lawsuit because duh. So
what the hell? Thank you. Can we get a great view in the chat? Thank you. you.
Trying to figure out what's going on here.
Obviously, they lost this fucking lawsuit because duh. So Subway's on its down slump, and then they just lose all credibility as being healthy in the coming scandals. Buh! What do you mean it's not healthy? Jared lost 250 pounds doing it. Buh!
You could do that anywhere. You could probably eat like a pizza every single day, but if you pick like a healthy pizza, like, I don't know, a margarita or something, you can lose weight doing that too. You're a great streamer. Ah, thank you. Check your PayPal.
Okay, Jared lost a bunch of weight because he was eating 2 6-inch subs a day and they were mostly vegetables. He was eating like 1,200 calories. You can eat 1,200 calories of literally fucking anything and you're gonna lose weight. If you eat 1,200 calories of Slim Jims and M&Ms, you're gonna lose weight.
Yeah, that's what happened when I got my wisdom teeth taken out, okay? I was eating soup every single day and ice cream, Bluebell, homemade vanilla, my favorite, and I lost weight eating ice cream just because I couldn't eat that much.
Especially if you're doing a bunch of cardio, chasing children at a playground like that sick pervert. In 2017,
No, you wrong for that. Oh, hell no.
CBS, the news network, decided they were going to conduct a little study on Subway chicken. They went, they bought a sandwich, they took the chicken, took it to a lab, and found out that the chicken that Subway sells is anywhere from 42% to 53% chicken.
What's the rest? Like the slime from the Teletubbies?
What the fuck is the rest of it? Wait, let me guess. You trademarked the term chicken breast, and now if anybody assumes that a chicken breast is made out of chicken, we're off.
Yeah, like my breasts are 100% breast, all natural.
Oh my god, Barry.
Fucking stupid.
Come
Is that
on.
what it is? Thankfully, no, they learned their lesson. They did not go that route again. What they did was they're like, okay, we're fucking up. We're going to make sure that the chicken is actually 100% chicken. No, I'm just kidding. They turned around and tried to sue CBS for malicious news and took them to court, and they lost again. Because it's...
They cannot get a dub at all. It's just L after L after L.
L after L after
It's not
L.
illegal to tell the truth.
There is no way in hell that I am going to say
Smile.
Oh, I'm really worried I'm going to say it.
Then in 2020 in Ireland was instituting a new tax where they were going to, have to tax more on food made in restaurants. And Subway came to the table and they argued, well, Ireland has certain staple foods that you can't increase taxes on. And one of those staple foods is bread. And we make all of our bread fresh in our restaurants. We should be exempt from this tax. Okay, not a big fan of Subway right now. I'll admit it. I'll be up front. However, that's a reasonable point, and Ireland agrees. And Ireland is like, okay, we hear you. Send some bread off to the lab, and we'll take a look at it.
Is this when they figured out they were yoga mats?
They're yoga mats.
I didn't know how that started. I thought that was just a little, like, lore that we were spreading around at my school. I didn't know that was real.
They send the bread off to the lab, and the Irish Supreme Court comes back and says, there's so much fucking sugar in this bread, you're not legally allowed to call this bread in the country of Ireland. You have to classify this as cake. You're selling
cake bread? Oh my god, but I'll be honest,
Subway fucked up real bad.
I don't even care.
Subway fucked up real bad.
The same thing that was happening. I think I told you guys this before, but in California, there was this protein powder that people were buying, and they were like, "Oh my god, it's so good! It tastes exactly like cake batter. Like this protein powder is insane." And then somebody tested it, and it was actually just cake batter put into a container of protein powder, and they just lied.
Cake sandwiches. And all of this just keeps coming out one after another after another. It's promoted by a pedophile. The franchises aren't making money. The foot-long sandwiches are only 10 inches long, and they're not bread. They're made out of cake. Half the chicken inside the chicken isn't even fucking chicken. Obviously, it leads to the public perception that Subway isn't that fucking healthy. And while all this is going on, they get rid of the $5 foot-long and jack the fucking prices through the roof and then add a tip screen at checkout. Needless to say, Subway's in the fucking tank. They've closed down 7,600 locations since 2015, and they're closing down
Jesus Christ.
thousands of locations every single year, and they are.
But why did we do this to Arby's? Like, kill Subway. I don't care. I don't go there. But like, Arby's didn't deserve the same treatment at all.
on a humongous decline. And this entire thing is just a textbook example of shitty leadership ruining an A-grade idea, because a Subway franchise was a golden idea, a brilliant idea. Super cheap to start up, didn't need any specialized equipment. Everybody that knows how to breathe and chew bubble gum can learn how to make a sandwich in like 5 seconds.
You know what? If Subway's not working, they should go and make like a cereal restaurant.
Oh my
Make your own
god.
cereal.
It was so easy to make
Imagine.
a ton of money, but instead, Subway corporate was like, we're gonna make as much money as possible and fuck over all the franchisees, even though they're on our team. All they had to do was be like, hey, we're gonna structure this in a way so that the franchisees are winning, then we're gonna win, and everybody's gonna fucking win. But no, they took the easy way out to make as much money as they could, as fast as they could, and they didn't give a shit about anybody else, and it tanked the entire company. They ended up selling to Rourke Capital in 2024, which owns Jimmy John's and Arby's and a bunch of other restaurants.
No! No! Why are they having with my goat?
So hopefully a lot of this bad leadership stuff is gone already, or if not, it's getting phased
And
out.
I thought
Also,
I
I'm
was
talking outrageous
unhinged.
amount of shit in this entire video, so I want to take a minute and just be like, hey, I understand if you're mad at Subway right now too. I am as well. However, your local Subway branch probably isn't owned by Big Subway. It's probably owned by somebody in your community that's just trying to make a living making sandwiches, and don't take it out on them. It's not their fault, and they're probably a lot more mad at corporate Subway than we are. Trust me. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch.
Wait. So corporate Subway is like their Twitch headquarters, and they're the streamers, and they hate that Twitch is taking their money every month for nothing.
Maybe drink some Echelon. Links for both of those are over at thefatalelectrician.com. Quack bang.
Well, they're taking our money for
Start customer
bandwidth.
botting.
Bandwidth use.
Out.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate it. If you're new here, please come by the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/evergreen. Please check out the original video and use code Barry for 10% off your gamer subs order. It helps me out and I would appreciate it. Goodbye, YouTube.
Lol.
Goodbye.
Honestly, I like it. I like it. Okay. I'm thinking. Just trying to fill in the actual thingamabobs here. Pixels. Trying to fill in the pixels. And honestly, to speaking, Subway. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so the bread has so much sugar in it, it needs to be legally needs to be called cake. Subway, as soon as I find, here's the thing. Subway doesn't really think. If they see profit, there's something to make money out of, they won't make money until they fuck up. They fuck up and slip. I bet from like the Ireland incident that they are now refusing to send bread because of that. I'm betting either they send their product to quote unquote prove that they are healthy for to send for analysis, or they just get kicked out of the country. Not one of those two. Anywho. Oh shit. I've been drawing the wrong fucking whatever. Shit. Well, that's just great. Not sure I'm gonna do shading now. I don't fucking think now. Honestly. One thing what I'm gonna do is I have an idea. I make another folder called shading. And this one's gonna be doing in this layer, I'm gonna be doing all the shading here. So therefore, this is gonna work out better. Here. Torso. Therefore, there we go. It's a really odd way of doing this, but like, it works. Alright. And then that's pretty much it we're gonna be doing for... Yeah, freecreditreport.com. That gets me. That always gets me. Of Chubby Electronic. Honestly, Chubby Electronic guy, fucking based. Anywho, I just want to say thank you everyone who stopped by for today's stream. My name is Brandon Blitz. I'm a variety streamer. I stream lots of video games, chat, me as well as I draw art. And hopefully I'll be doing 3D model forever here. That being said, I'm probably gonna just have a little snack and then like chill and then go to bed. We do have our own Discord. It's both linked in the my profile, and there are commands you can use. I really don't think that I don't think that JS does have any official command or support for official command. I know Purple Scythe does Purple Scythe does have these commands. And the red play button also has support for those commands as well. Outside of that, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm pretty much gonna get going now, and hopefully y'all are gonna have a great, fabulous evening, evening, night time zone. That being said, I gotta get going, Blitzies. Bye bye, matinee.